Thanks for joining us on our latest podcast. Today, I am joined with the head of business from Codest. We're here to talk a little bit about the Codest journey and how things have changed over the latest few years. After a recent management buyout, the company is going from strength to strength and is expanding across Europe. Kamil, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background and how you're finding things with the current economic crisis?
Sure, Josh. Thanks for the kind intro. My name is Kamil. I'm the head of growth at Codest. Initially joined the company to help building the new business. Now I'm a bit more involved also into the marketing part. So what I'm doing is I'm on the journey to spread Codest word and engineering services into international markets, which we are mainly focusing on. And as we speak, we currently have only one single client from Poland. All the others are global. So the company-wise, we are based in Poland. Specifically, myself, I'm in Warsaw, but we do have an office in Krakow, where our roots are. So we have the background in the Ruby on Rails community in Krakow. The company itself has been founded in 2009, so it's over 10 years already on the market. And I would say that we do have a strong remote culture, as we've been remote before the COVID outbreak. So the transition itself wasn't that painful for us. Majority of the staff we're used to, and we're big fans of remote work. So fortunately, the switch from the office or to remote or hybrid mode was okay, and we are happy to share our best practices with whoever needs that.
Yeah, and we've known each other for nearly a year now. I think it's coming up to a year since I met you in Warsaw, Kamil.
That's true indeed. But we've been just meeting just before the outbreak, so we were lucky to still have the chance to meet face to face, which was good. And I think it was like winter.
Yeah, I think you were one of the last meetings I had face to face before this whole pandemic, which is nice. And it's been interesting as well. Obviously, I know kind of firsthand a little bit about the talent that you've got within Codest and some of the people that work for you, especially some of the really talented developers. And I know that when I've spoken to a lot of companies in the UK, that's one of the key struggles is hiring very good people. And now, especially, I think it's a very current subject, is the fact that people are now working remotely, and it does open the door to companies that have potentially been a little bit reluctant to outsource either to nearshore or offshore with other development companies. And I think hopefully what we'll see now is the change of attitude, that now people are working remotely and we are seeing the benefits. Then hopefully you'll be able to acquire a number of new clients and be able to demonstrate the qualities that I know that you guys have got. Out of interest, how have you found the 6-month lockdown and things in Poland personally? I know it's challenging for a lot of people, and especially business. We've said it ourselves, we like to do face-to-face meetings and things. There's been a lot of Zoom, a lot of Google Hangouts. How have you found it over the last few months?
The beginnings were kind of strange for people because we were, forced to stay at home, and normally when you have this, let's say, remote culture in the company, people are free to go to the office whenever they feel like, and they enjoy, the water cooler conversations, hanging out with the people they work with, having those chance to integrate with each other, and all of those, let's say, typical office perks. So the beginnings were a bit of strange, but I would say after first week it was more or less okay. I would say the more troublesome part was on the side of our clients, because as you remember, the beginning was a bit of panic on the market. March, April, the companies, especially in those industries that got hit strongly, like tourism, let's say restaurants, everything around catering, they got hit in this first wave. So we actually got 2 projects frozen right away in March. because our clients were sure that they will lack financing in the long run to keep the engineering works going. So we got on, let's say, on hold at the beginning. But I would say it went from March till May, June, the latest, and just before the summertime, we could feel the movement. People were coming to us with the new inquiries. We also saw that more and more engineers are applying for the jobs, which was not typical, I would say, before, because for the best engineers, we were supposed to direct search and hunt them and recruit them, putting a lot of effort. When we have got the job applications spontaneously from the developers, you could smell like, okay, there are some layoffs going on. Some people are looking for the new, let's say, safer and more stable jobs and things like this. But then I would say over the summer it got stable, because over the summer we kind of felt like things are going back on track, and I would say they are on the track right now. Of course, we are still before this second wave, and we never know how the markets will react. But I feel it in my bones that it will be stable.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing, isn't it? That there was almost a bit of a knee-jerk reaction from a lot of companies, and they made people redundant, and they made people leave the businesses. Whereas as people started to build more confidence in the fact that people can work remotely and business can continue doing things online, the confidence started and people started hiring again, and I almost felt sorry for the businesses that let the good engineers go at the start of lockdown. A very quick decision without necessarily investigating the full situation. But then companies like you guys have benefited massively, haven't you, from being able to hire that really good talent, and people really respect the fact that you guys have been growing and continuing to develop people internally. And I think that's testament as well to what you guys can offer as a company, because you are a very stable outfit. I mean, you've gone through a management buyout not so long ago. How did you find that, and do you think that had any effect with the COVID situation?
Yeah, it made it a bit faster than we had planned. I remember just before we met for the first time in Warsaw, I had a talk with our current CEO. By the way, the person I worked with on other project like 10 years ago. So then he brought me to Codest to help grow the new business part. And we had this kind of conversation that, okay, if we are going with the plan and the targets in 2020, we are planning to unmount from our current mother company, which was a corporate and our investor. And 2021, we should start as an independent legal entity. And suddenly the COVID came in March and made it a bit faster, because the corporate was hit, I would say, strongly, because our owner was in the media industry, the printed media and the digital media. So plus they had also a chain of cinemas. So you can imagine they were hit on a couple of fronts.
Yeah.
And our software house business was one of their, let's say, revenue streams. So at some point they said, okay, guys, we might have less funds for the investment this year. So there are decisions to be made. And this hard decision was, okay, we are going solo. So the story was that by DNA, we have started as a product company. So we were engineering team developing adtech products for our mother company, and this was our business, like, completely. So we have developed a number of adtech products, but at some point we got first international client from Sweden. It was also a media company by the referral from our investor. And then at some point we started, okay, if we could deliver projects to external clients and we know we are good at software engineering, why not try to scale it up and go more aggressively towards the international markets. And that's what we did, and that's what I came for here. But the decision was, okay, guys, you can keep doing it, but then you are going to be independent and just do it on your own terms, your own way. And the agreement was that we are splitting the engineering teams, and the teams who were still working on our, we call them internal projects, which were the projects for our mother company, still stayed as employees of the investor, and the other part working on the external clients from our European projects mainly went with us. So we kind of split it even, almost, because we were around 40 people team back then in March. And then now we split and we are 20 people team. So
Yeah,
I would say the split was even.
Yeah, sure. So there's been some change. I mean, how have you found? I mean, has there been any significant challenges since you faced the management buyout?
The challenge, I would say, was in the unknown waters, because we split in May, and we still were not sure what's going to happen towards end of the year with COVID and the thing. So our number one priority was to keep stable until end of the year. Do not dive too deep and try to do a crazy growth in the year, which is very unprecedented, let's call it. And then the second thing was to make sure that we keep the engineers with us, that they will not look for other options, that we really want to keep them on board and kind of bet on them in the long run, which was a key. And of course, the side effect was that we had the plans to hire new engineers, and the layoffs and the whole COVID situation made it a bit easier to attract people who were looking for fully remote jobs. Because not all the companies allow that, and we are okay with it, and we support it a lot. So I would say right now it's one of the first things people ask during the interviews: if you are really fully remote, or you are only remote until end of COVID. So yes, we are remote, and as long as the job gets done, you can work from any place in the world.
And you've always had that attitude, haven't you, about the remote working? I remember when we met, that was one of the big selling points, I guess, for people that worked with you guys, is that remote working is normal and there's no problem with that. I guess similar to us as well.
It is, and of course it gives a chance to reach to way wider talent pool than only those living in your city. So which is obvious thing, but if you want to build a big engineering team in one specific location, you need to compete about the limited amount of engineers with a lot of startups and a lot of tech companies who are also fighting for their attention. So whenever you open up for the remote setup, obviously the options you have are way wider, and that's where we feel our strength is, and it's also our asset. Plus, it's one of the key things that are considered by the engineers whenever they are also screening us about potential joining of Codest. So of course we are happy to support it.
Yeah, sure. And I guess as well, the fact that you guys are a service-based business, you are supporting clients remotely as well. Let's say, if you are supporting clients in Germany, in Sweden, in the UK, there is no need for everyone to be in the office, is there? When you can have the high-performing teams that are based remotely for you guys, because that work is also getting done remotely. How have you found it being a Polish-based business, selling into the international markets across wider Europe?
I think that the beginnings were the toughest when we were still growing the recognition, because we were known as experts from adtech business associated with our investor, which was okay at the beginning because it gave us sort of stability, and we were part of a big group. We had the brand in Poland, but we are not really interested in having a brand in Poland, but abroad. So the beginnings were most difficult because we kind of had to build the trust of our new clients. And once we did, the first clients came from Sweden, from Nordics, from Baltics, from Germany, from UK, so pretty much all around Europe. And now, as we speak, we only have one single client from Poland, and the rest span between Nordics, Western Europe. Now we have also a client in Canada, so we are kind of touching the continents beyond Europe. So I guess the beginnings were the toughest, and with time we got to build the recognition as experts in Ruby on Rails, and we are proud of a strong Ruby on Rails community in Poland. But also as one of our steps on the growth map, we are going to kind of offer additional technologies apart from Ruby on Rails, which was our, let's say, DNA backend. Now we are also going to step into Python and Node.js, which is, I'd say, natural direction because we also specialize in JavaScript. So it's all about building the trust and showing your know-how, your competences, your expertise to the people who get to know you for the first time.
Yeah, and I was just going to touch on that as well, because you are very, very well known within Warsaw, but also in wider Poland as well, for the qualities that you guys have with Ruby on Rails and the technologies around that. And I know when we spoke a few weeks back, you mentioned that you guys were going to be expanding with Python and further on with JavaScript as well. And I thought that was really interesting because actually, if you can emulate what you've done with Ruby on Rails and then expand that within the Python side, I think that's going to be a really interesting mix, because we both know that Python is a huge skill in the market right now, and there is a lot of companies that are desiring good engineers that have these skills. What have you thought in terms of the process and businesses across Europe using Python? Do you think this is going to be the future, I guess, mainstay with programming languages? Do you think Python is going to be the number one in the coming years?
I remember I have seen an infographic this week or a week before saying the percentage rising of people Googling online the Python courses and open source learning materials. So it says the Python rose, I believe, 4% quarter to quarter, and it's still on the rising on the rising peak. So the way we observe it, all those reports by Stack Overflow published annually, with the most popular languages, of course, the Python is rising. As I would say, as our engineers say, that the Python is rising now as the Ruby used to rise when it had its peak. So it's for some time Python was this cool kid new on the block. And of course, it's always tempting for the engineers to dive into this and learn this. And since we do have a lot of expertise in Ruby on Rails and fintech projects, while Python is commonly used and very regularly used for fintech projects and all those AI data mining projects, we are happy to also kind of wider our portfolio and our skills, because we don't want to limit ourselves. Whenever clients are coming to us and they seek for help, we don't want to suggest Ruby all the time when we know that Python is the better option. So that's also giving us more freedom, let's say, technically.
Yeah, Python is so big as well, as you mentioned, in the financial services sector, fintech and things like this. Just again, I know in London, in the London market here, the amount of FS companies that are working with Python and using it for all their data development and things, it's a really interesting mix. Out of interest, what other industries are you guys covering at the moment? Because I know that you've had a big shift, haven't you? It was very much financial services before, and you guys are expanding with your offering, I guess, as well into other sectors.
Yeah, as I said before, we had those strong roots in adtech, but we really wanted to become experts of, in adtech development. The field is quite dense, and we were not into being such a niche experts. But when we started acquiring our clients, and we still focus our efforts on couple of key industries, and we know we have a lot of know-how to bring to the table to companies from fintech industry, from e-commerce marketplaces, and pretty much any kind of SaaS application-based businesses. So we've been there, done that, and our engineers enjoy working on those projects, and that's pretty much our core right now. We are actually starting a new project for custom CRM, but it's kind of a different capability, but still, our priority and our key focus are on those core industries.
Sure. And I guess what do you expect the growth to look like of Codest over the next few years? And I guess in the short term, in the few months as well, because COVID will have some form of an impact on the growth. But long term, where do you see Codest growing?
Well, for sure, we were talking about it last year that we wanted to have a first mark in North America. The US was the initial plan, of course, but it's always this ultimate place that you want to have clients from. So we already did that. We are stepping into Canada, so hopefully we will keep diving there and getting some more recognition from North American markets. What we surely are now prioritizing is our rebranding process. So as we speak, we are working on our brand new website, and the services being reshapen into new form. Plus, of course,
the new logo as well.
Yeah, the new logo. So it will be totally Codest 2.0 version. So I can't wait to kind of share it with our networks, because it's been a last 3-4 months we are working on it, and we plan to show it to the world in November. And of course, with all that, we are building our content marketing strategy. So we want to make sure that the content we deliver to our audience is valuable, and it's edible, and has a lot of value for both technical and engineering leaders, and also for software developers themselves. So we are kind of trying to give back as much knowledge to the community as possible. And usually our engineers enjoy those, let's say, technical tasks, dev talks we organize inside the company, demo days to share knowledge, to talk about the projects. We are actually having one today. So this sort of share knowledge, gain knowledge is our mission, and of course the scaling up in size. So I believe the plan for the 2021, if we would be realistic, by the end of next year, we would like to have 40 to 50 people in our engineering team, which is ambitious. But so far we see that demand for solid engineering services is stable. The demand for remote savvy engineering services is even more stable. So we hope to be on this train and be able to get the attention of clients from Europe, and prove them that we are delivering the top quality services in the technologies as I mentioned.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about giving back and doing all the tech talks and things that you're doing internally, which I think is fantastic as well, because it is really key to develop your own staff and making sure the engineers are pushing their own boundaries, especially when it does come to providing the services that you do to your clients. I remember when we met in January, you were telling me a little bit about the Codest coding school that you guys run. And I think the plan was to relaunch it again this year. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how that came about?
Yeah, so back in the days, we ran our own coding school. It's called Code Sensei. And we did the Ruby on Rails courses, which were completed by a number of engineers who successfully entered the labor market in Krakow. We were organizing those courses in Krakow, and part of the engineers became our Codest employees. So they have stayed with us for a long time, delivering a great job and great quality services. I remember I heard the saying that, and it was actually by one of our key engineers, telling that the best engineers are raised, not hired. And we were at that point we were raising our own key engineers. So we put a pause on the coding school a while ago, but it was also the decision kind of driven by our current investor. But since we split the ways, we took over the rights to the coding school, and we have the plans to relaunch it again to be able to train new Ruby on Rails engineers, and that possibly could also step into other technologies. But Ruby is our core, and here we are sure that we can deliver value and teach great developers. So the plan is to relaunch it. Possibly beginning of 2021. And the second thing, which is always this holy grail of service-based companies, is to develop their own SaaS application. So to pivot from service-based business to product company. And I would say I know quite a few success stories of people running a software house, building their own product, and pivoting completely to being a SaaS company. We also kind of started last year doing like one of our internal projects. We have plans to keep developing it into a fully ready SaaS project. So yeah, fingers crossed that we will have capacity to deliver it in-house. But it was always a great thing to have as a playground for the new engineers joining us, so they could work a bit on our internal project before jumping into external clients. And plus, it was always a great thing to have whenever we had free capacity. Some like during the COVID projects got on hold, we had people on the bench, and we could utilize their skills by building our in-house tool. So that's also on the roadmap, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say are the three most important aspects or skills when it comes to becoming a Codest employee? What do you specifically look for when hiring good engineers?
I would say that we as let's say Polish IT community, we are pretty much proud of engineers who are well educated, have solid engineering skills and very good communication skills, especially when it comes to working with the international clients. That's kind of a must-have skill. So we definitely are after engineers who already have commercial experience, ideally working with clients from abroad, who are independent and who are not afraid to challenge the status quo. So we kind of whenever we start working with a client, we don't want to just be the executors of their idea, but we know we have skills and expertise to advise them on some sort of technical details. So we want engineers who are not afraid to advise the client if something could be done better than it's currently done. So it takes some courage and guts and expertise. You need to have this, yeah.
Yeah. You've got to be confident in your own abilities, haven't you? If you're going to turn around to a client and say that they're potentially wrong or they need to change something.
Yeah, and of course it's only for the benefit of the client. Whenever you start working with your external tech partner, the worst thing you can do is to pay them just to execute your vision, and do not listen to them whenever they feel like they can add some extra value to the table of your current project. Because the worst thing is when the client is not open for this constructive feedback, and then the engineers got kind of angry about it. They complain on Slack, and if it goes on and on for too long in the project, they got frustrated and they want to change the project, they want to leave the company. So of course, to anticipate what might happen, we want to make sure that our developers are confident enough to challenge the client whenever there is a way and there is a chance to challenge in order to improve the quality of the project.
Yeah, and do you take that into consideration when you are bringing new clients into the company and you are looking to work with new customers? Is that one of your key, I guess, screening points to make sure that they are open to change and constructive feedback?
I would say at the beginning of our screening, one of the first things we are checking is what is the current setup, what do they struggle with, what are the bottlenecks in the current process, and sort of have a couple of extra questions covering the quality and using the best engineering practices, sort of test coverage and things like this. So we get a sort of idea what we can expect there. Of course, it's still a rough idea before jumping into the code base. You can't say like for sure, but we want to avoid those situations where the project is poorly maintained and there were a lot of shortcuts done at the beginning of development, cutting corners, compromising on the quality, and then the client is looking for a partner who will do miracles.
Yeah. We know both that some clients are like that, aren't they? Before you speak to them in detail, they do just expect the world at not a very high cost.
Yeah. But also, of course, we are trying to filter it, and because there are a lot of companies who specialize in maintaining legacy projects.
Yeah.
And they are cool with it, and they enjoy it, but from the perspective of the software engineers, the best projects you can work on is, of course, to build new stuff, building new features, adding new features to the existing project, platform, application, whatever it's all about. So the more things like bug fixing and refactoring and maintaining the legacy code and going through the jungle of the spaghetti code, whatever there is inside, it's always difficult to make engineers excited about it. So they need to have some excitement to be up for diving into new projects. So we always try to screen, but well, usually the good thing is to do trials. So we are used to do trial projects. So then both we and the client have a chance to feel how is the cooperation together, what is the communication, the level of attention to details, and all those things that you screen whenever you consider joining forces with a new vendor.
Yeah, and I think that's an important factor as well, because not every vendor do the trial phase. A lot of small consultancies will try and sign the clients up for a long-term engagement or perhaps the full project. For potential new customers that are watching this, could you tell us a little bit more about how the trial phase works if someone would be interested in working with Codest?
Yeah, we typically do either 1 or 3 months trials project. So ideally, if the client has a project that could last that long, yeah, sorry, or we start developing and we set ourselves checkpoints every 1 to 2 weeks or every month to discuss openly how's it going, what's the feedback, what things do you feel are very strong, what things do you feel could be improved. So then we make sure that after or just before this trial period, the customer has a lot of intelligence about what it takes to work with Codest, and am I ready to jump on the long-term project with them. So we try to deliver everything we can from our side to give a full scope or a full taste what it is to work with Codest, what kind of quality we deliver, and everything you pretty much need to know before committing to have a long-term partner for any software projects you might have in your pipeline.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that kind of sums everything up on this initial podcast, because ultimately I know the quality that you guys have internally. And I think that the benefits here is the fact that you guys are real specialists, and you've been working remotely for so long that the current situation shouldn't worry any potential customer, because this is kind of business as usual for you guys. And also, just from my local market knowledge, I know how fantastic the engineers are, because I know that I was involved in part of the recruitment process for some, and also I've seen some of the candidates that you work with and some of the people that have previously worked at Codest, and they've always got an amazing words to say about the work that you guys do and the way that you treat your staff, which I think is a really key part here, because if any customer is watching this, or potential customer that's interested in linking up with Codest on long-term work, you can guarantee that the engineers are actually going to be around for the full duration of the project, and it's not just going to be getting passed to different engineers who are potentially not going to understand or neglect the project. These people are professionals, and they see out the project for the full duration and have a very, very high success rate with all of their clients. Now, the part 2 to this podcast is going to be with the CTO from Codest, who's going to give a little bit more information about the technologies, some of the teams, and the key skills that the guys have got. If you guys have got any questions or would like to have any further information about what Codest could do to help you guys, then I'll leave Kamil's contact details in the description below, and I'll also tag him in this post as well. And I'm sure Kamil would welcome any further conversations from customers or potential customers across Europe and Americas who might be interested in outsourcing to a specialist, not just Ruby on Rails now as well, moving into Python, a software house who can deliver exceptional solutions.
I wouldn't say it better, Josh. So thanks for having me here. I would enjoy having the follow-up conversations, and looking forward for the second round with our CTO, who will be happy to talk more about technology and any things that might interest you when it comes to, say, a software engineering world, which is, a wide and a big space.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and be sure to check out our Tech Talk Tuesday, our second podcast with Codest, coming soon. Thank you.
Thanks.